Hello, and welcome to another episode of TEW 2020 WWE. We are here with the go-home episodes of Raw, NXT, and Smackdown, heading into Extreme Rules and Halloween Havoc. The build-up to these pay-per-views, rating-wise, has been incredible, I would say. Hopefully we can continue that in this final week. Raw getting underway here with the Women's World Champion Ember Moon and her contender Sasha Banks making their respective entrances for an 88 here. And then the two verbally going back and forth. Ember Moon ready to defend her gold, ready for the challenge of Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks ready for Ember Moon, saying that Ember Moon is a loser and she is a winner. She is the one that deserves to lead Raw as its champion. She is the one who deserves to stand at the top of the pyramid with that Women's World title around her waist. And come Extreme Rules, she is going to get it. For a 90 year. They both signed the contract. The match official and set for Extreme Rules. Ember Moon versus Sasha Banks for the Women's World Championship. The segment ratings have been very good in the build up, so hopefully the match itself will be really good as well. High hopes for that one. Good start to the show here. Before we get into the first match of the evening, it is the Hardcore Championship number 1 contender Pete Dunne taking on an opponent of Tommaso Ciampa's choosing, and in the form of the former champion that Ciampa beat for the title, Thatcher. And Pete Dunne coming out on top in the end with the bitter end for an 80 here. Good match. 76 for Dunne, 67 for Thatcher. Happy with this. Pete Dunne coming out on top. Ciampa watching from ringside. And then Ciampa getting in the ring ready for his match. Pete Dunne going to ringside for a 78 here. And it will be Tommaso Ciampa taking on an opponent of Pete Dunne's choice. And Pete Dunne choosing a former partner of his in the form of Tyler Bates from NXT UK. It's Tommaso Ciampa versus Tyler Bate. And Tommaso Ciampa coming out on top with the Project Ciampa here for a 69. 81 for Ciampa. Ciampa doing really well. Brought down a bit by that 31 for Bate. But happy enough with this. Ciampa coming out on top with that Project Ciampa. And then after the match, Pete Dunne going to get into the ring to confront Ciampa. And Ciampa just leaving the ring before Pete Dunne can properly get into it. Ciampa not wanting to deal with Dunne. Ready to wait until their match at Extreme Rules for the title to have this particular confrontation for an 80 here. Good work from these guys in the post as Ciampa and Pete Dunne both picking up a little bit of momentum heading into that championship match at Extreme Rules between the pair. And then next up we have one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Celtic Warriors, Drew McIntyre, taking on one half of their opponents, the Hardy Boys, Jeff Hardy. The winning superstar will get to pick the stipulation for their Raw Tag Team title match at Extreme Rules. And in the end, Matt Hardy and Sheamus brawling at ringside. The referee a bit distracted. Jeff Hardy hitting a twist of fate onto Drew McIntyre, but with the kick, instead of kicking him in the chest, he kicks him right in the groin. Drew McIntyre bending over in pain. Jeff Hardy hitting that twist of fate, hitting a swanton bomb, picking up the victory here for the Hardy Boys for a 71 here. Good work. 64 from Drew, 59 for Jeff. Sadly, the two didn't seem to click, which is disappointing, but oh well. 71 still okay. Jeff Hardy coming out on top. Then after the match, the Celtic Warriors going up the ramp. Jeff and Matt in the ring, happy, and they announced they at Extreme Rules, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus will be coming into their wheelhouse, will be coming into their domain, because for their Raw Tag Team Championship match at the pay-per-view is going to be tables, ladders, and chairs. A TLC match for the Raw Tag Team Championship between the Hardy Boys and the Celtic Warriors for an 87 here. Big announcement from the Hardy Boys. Hopefully the match itself will be really good. Before we head into the main event of this evening, is a 6-man tag team match following on from last week. We have the Undisputed Era, the WWE Champion Adam Cole, the United States Champion Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish taking on Adam Cole's opponent come Extreme Rules, Daniel Bryan, and Kyle O'Reilly's two opponents, Matt Riddle and Samoa Joe. Last week the UE beating down Daniel Bryan, but then Riddle and Joe storming out, saving Bryan but largely attacking Kyle O'Reilly, ready for their match at Extreme Rules. And now we have a 6-man tag main event here, which will hopefully do really well. I guess an 89, what a match. Brilliant main event from all involved, and it is Daniel Bryan, Matt Riddle and Samoa Joe come out on top. Samoa Joe locking in the coquina clutch onto Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly, maybe an eye on Sunday in mind, tapping out. And if that happens at Extreme Rules, Samoa Joe will be the US champion. Samoa Joe standing tall here, sending a clear message, pointing at Adam Cole as Adam Cole hides up the ramp, saying that first this, then you. Because, of course, whoever is United States Champion come the end of Extreme Rules, they can cash that in for a world title opportunity at Survivor Series. If Samoa Joe beats Kyle O'Reilly, he could just give up the US title immediately, get that WWE title match against Adam Cole or Daniel Bryan come Survivor Series. But the main event here, the 89, incredible. Really, really pleased with that. 97 for Adam Cole, 90 for Daniel Bryan, 79 Matt Riddle, 78 Kyle O'Reilly, 72 Joe, 62 Bobby Fish. Everyone pulling their weight. The 97 from Adam Cole and the 90 from Daniel Bryan, very promising considering those two are going one-on-one at Extreme Rules. Hopefully those two can produce some magic themselves. And then in the post, Samoa Joe, Matt Riddle and Daniel Bryan standing tall. O'Reilly dragged out the ring by Fish whilst Adam Cole watches on from the ramp for an 85 here. Really pleased with this, as these two feuds reaching a fever pitch, heading into their respective matches at Extreme Rules. As finally we head into the final segments of the night. With first we have the entrance of Angel Garza for an 83, followed by the entrance of the Rated R superstar, the WWE Hall of Famer Edge for an 87. And then both men sit either side the table, Angel Garza saying that at Extreme Rules he is going to break Edge. He is going to send him back to whichever retirement home he found his way out of last year. He's going to send him right back there for what he did. Cost him the WWE title. He could have cost him his career. He could have cost him his life with what he did. And so Angel Garza says he will feel no remorse and he will feel no regret about what he's going to do to Edge at Extreme Rules. And he says that there's no running from it. It's an unsanctioned match. Angel Garza can do whatever he wants, and he says he is going to enjoy breaking Edge piece by piece. And then Edge saying that he warned Garza. He told him he didn't know what he'd do if he lost that WWE title, and still Garza came for it. Still Garza stole it from him. And Edge says he just snaps, and he says he's sorry if Garza feels hurt, but if Garza can't go with the big boys, then maybe he shouldn't be here at all. And Edge says he was ready to pay no mind to Garza, forget it ever happened, but then Garza got in his business. Garza cost him his WWE title that he was going to get back against Adam Cole. And so if Garza wants to get in his business, then fine, they can do this, they can fight this. But Garza needs to be aware that Edge, the Rated R superstar, the ultimate opportunist, Edge, the Hall of Famer, he's not going to go down without a fight. And Edge saying that whilst Angel Garza was still in diapers, Edge was fighting wars in this business. And so if Angel Garza wants to go, Edge says that they can go, but Angel Garza needs to be ready. Because when he gets in the ring with Edge, when there are no restrictions, when the match only ends with pinfall or submission, it ends one way, and that is with Edge on top and Angel Garza in broken and battered pieces on the mat for an 89. The verbal back and forth between these two, both very much ready for their unsanctioned match at Extreme Rules. Both men signing the contract for the 90. The match official, Drake Maverick making his way out the ring, Garza and Edge both standing up. And then, of course, a brawl breaking out between the two both going for each other, security piling into the ring, having to separate them. Both men, neither man wanting to wait for Extreme Rules. They both want to go right now, but security aren't going to let them. They're going to have to wait for their match for a 91 here. The show going off air as Garza and Edge scream at each other and try to get to each other to no avail past the security. Amazing go-home episode of Raw here, overall. Getting an 89, what a show. That main event 6-man tag for the 89, and then those closing segments between Edge and Garza. Amazing work from everyone involved. Increased up play in 38 regions. Very happy. Raw doing really well heading into Extreme Rules here. Hopefully the match ratings at the pay-per-view will show this, because the build-up has been incredible, honestly. And hopefully we can have some more incredible build-up heading into Extreme Rules with the other show that will be at the event with Raw. It's time for the go-home episode of NXT. And NXT getting underway here, heading right into the big contract signing segments. We have the entrances of first the NXT Women's Championship #1 contender Raquel Gonzalez, and then the NXT Championship #1 contender Randy Orton for the 87, followed by the NXT Women's Champion Becky Lynch, and then finally the NXT Champion Karrion Kross for the 88s respectively here. At Extreme Rules, of course, it will be Becky Lynch defending her title against Raquel Gonzalez in a Becky Lynch chosen last woman standing match, and Karrion Kross defending his NXT Championship against Randy Orton in Randy Orton's match of choice, Hell in a Cell. The 4 superstars all cut their promos, all ready for battle, all ready for war, all ready to get their opportunity to be the better superstar, to be the better competitor, to be the winner, to be the champion in their respective division for an 84 here. They leave it all in the ring here. They leave everything they want to say to be said on their final opportunity heading into Extreme Rules. Raquel Gonzalez wants to take down Becky Lynch once for all, prove that she's not as great as she thinks she is, that she's not the man, that Raquel Gonzalez is the man around here, and soon she'll have the championship to back it up. Becky Lynch just laughing at it, saying that Raquel Gonzalez, she couldn't win gold when carried with Dakota Kai, and she won't win gold at Extreme Rules because the man runs the show around here, and the man is the NXT Women's Champion, Randy Orton. Saying that Kross is a good competitor, Kross is dangerous, Kross is brutal, but at the end of the day, the 3 most dangerous letters in the WWE, in the professional wrestling, is RKO for a reason, and everyone knows that for a reason, because Randy Orton's been doing this day in, day out for longer, nearly as long as Karrion Kross has been alive, probably, because Randy Orton eats, sleeps and breathes professional wrestling, and so when it comes down to it, he will be the one leaving NXT champion, and Karrion Kross saying that Randy made a mistake with Hell in a Cell. Kross has been waiting to get in that cage, to get in that cell, and to do it with Randy Orton, he can't wait, because he's going to get to inflict the maximum pain without anyone being able to stop him for an 84 here, and Karrion Kross promising he will leave NXT champion for an 84, and then all 4 competitors signing the contract to end things here on a 90. No breakdown, no brawl. This ring is decked out in security. Good start to the show. Very hopeful for both of these matches at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view to do well. I mean, segment-wise, they've done well in the build-up, so we'll have to wait and see. Before we head into the first action of the night is Carmelo Hayes, lost in the Breakout Tournament semi-final, getting a match tonight against Chad Gable, NXT North American Championship #1 contender. Chad Gable coming out on top here over Carmelo Hayes for a 66, doing alright. 38 from Hayes, 69 Gable. Both men didn't seem to click, but oh well, it's just a little one-off, little preview for Gable, again heading into his match. A little bit of action for Carmelo. No complaints here. Before then, Keith Lee, who was at ringside watching his opponent for Extreme Rules, gets in the ring for his matchup next against Omos, the other competitor who lost in the Breakout Tournament semi-final last week. And Keith Lee coming out on top with the Big Bang Catastrophe for a 77. Could have done better, but Omos was working through a bit of an injury. But oh well. 77 still really good. 86 from Lee, 36 from Omos. Very, very happy with this, as Lee and Gable both building momentum into that match. Then after the match, Lee getting his arm raised, Gable getting in the ring, Lee laying down the North American title on the mat, and him and Gable standing over it, shaking hands, showing some respect before their match at Extreme Rules. Hopefully, these two will do a good job for that title at the pay-per-view. An 83 for the post-match segment here. I'm happy with that, and hopefully they'll do well at the event. We then go backstage and we show Ray and Dom training and preparing. They're both ready for their Cruiserweight Tag Team title match in the main event against Legado, Humberto Carrillo and Santos Escobar for an 87 here. They're training, Ray trying to impart some last minute advice and tips onto his son Dominic heading into that match, as the Mysterios look to dethrone Legado and get some father-son tag team title action here. 87 for that segment, very, very good. For next up, we head into the debut of Cora Jade, the young up-and-comer, taking on the experience of Mickie James here in her debut match. Mickie James a bit overconfident, a bit cocky, and in the end maybe that proves her downfall, as Cora Jade rolls her up out of nowhere to pick up the victory for a 42 here. Cora Jade, on her debut, a historic win for her over multi-time women champion Mickie James. 41 for James, who was sadly off her game. 33 for Jade, still doing alright though with the 42. Cora Jade coming out on top, getting her arm raised, celebrating when she is attacked by Mickie James. Mickie James beating her down. Mickie James obviously not happy with that defeat to Cora Jade, a superstar of her standard and level. And then as she's beating her down, the music of Candice LeRae hits. Candice LeRae, another veteran, storming out to the ring, making the save here. Mickie James fleeing as Candice scares her away before checking on the young Cora Jade for a 45. But Mickie James' post-match note can't change the fact that Cora Jade did pick up the win here. Cora Jade getting a big victory on her NXT and WWE debut. We then have a promo from Legado, Santos Escobar and Humberto Carrillo, the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions, talking about the main event, saying they're ready for Rey and Dom. Santos Escobar saying he has been waiting this opportunity, a championship match with Rey Mysterio. After Rey Mysterio lucked his way into defeating him for the Cruiserweight title all the way back at NXT TakeOver in your house, Escobar says he has been waiting for this and he is ready for this. And with Carrillo by his side, they will be unstoppable. They will beat the Mysterios and retain their Cruiserweight Tag Team title. And then Andrade and Vega talking about Sunday, talking about Extreme Rules. Andrade defending the Cruiserweight title against Aleister Black. And Andrade said he's ready. He says Aleister Black has been a thorn in his side for too long, and he can't wait to finally get to deal with him at Extreme Rules, however he sees fit. And then at the end of Extreme Rules, the site will be exactly as it is as it enters. Legado with all the Cruiserweight gold for a 79 here. Very good segment from Legado. Before we head into the NXT Breakout Tournament final, is Bronson Reed versus the fabulous Fredrick Fairchild. The winning superstar getting a contract for a championship match of their choosing. It's the big one, Reed versus Fairchild. In the end, the fabulous Fredrick Fairchild picking up the win with that fabulous face buster out of nowhere as the fabulous Fredrick Fairchild wins the NXT Breakout Tournament for a 67. Good match. Huge win for Fairchild here. Breaking out, getting the contract. 67 for Reed, 64 Fairchild, 67 for the match. Happy with that from these guys. They had great chemistry and it showed. That is good to know, as Fredrick Fairchild is the NXT Breakout Tournament winner, and afterwards having a massive celebration for a 68 in the ring. He's got the contract, he's got that championship match of his choosing. Bronson Reed putting up a hell of a fight. Big things for him coming up, I'm sure, but tonight belongs to the fabulous Fredrick Fairchild. Very happy with the Breakout Tournament, bringing a lot of guys through, and it's Fairchild and Reed who stand out in the end, and Fairchild who stands out above all as the Breakout Tournament winner. We then have a little rundown of the NXT card for Extreme Rules, but for tonight we end things here with the main event of NXT for the Cruiserweight Tag Team titles. It's Legado, Humberto Carrillo and Santos Escobar defending their gold against the Mysterios, the legendary Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic, going for father-son tag team championship gold here. But in the end, it's Legado who come out on top. Santos Escobar and Humberto Carrillo taking out Rey separately and then hitting Dominic with that Patrimonio driver to pick up the win here. Legado retaining their Cruiserweight Tag Team titles for a 78. The Mysterios a bit distraught, but it's Legado coming out on top here. 77 for Rey, 71 Santos Escobar, 65 Humberto, 36 Dominic. Good little match as Legado come out on top. After the match, Legado beating down on the Mysterios, attacking Dom. Rey trying to get involved, but then Legado having the numbers game, taking out Rey. The lights go up, Black's in the ring, and then Black trying to make the save, trying to fight off Legado, but Legado now with a 3-on-1 advantage, take down Aleister Black as well for an 85, and then NXT going off air with Legado, maybe a bit of a preview for Sunday, standing tall over the Mysterios and Aleister Black with all of the Cruiserweight gold for a 74 here. Legado, the big winners tonight, coming out on top. Fairchild with his Breakout Tournament win as well. Very happy with this episode of NXT. I thought it's done pretty well. Overall rating of 83. No complaints here. NXT doing well here on the Go Home show for the 83. Increased the pop in one region. Happy with that. As that is it for NXT heading into Extreme Rules. And now to end this week of build up into those big pay-per-views with the Halloween Havoc Go Home show for Smackdown. And Smackdown getting underway here in its Go Home show for Halloween Havoc with the entrance of the New Day. Universal Champion Big E, flocked of course by his New Day brothers, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Not really seen since that vicious assault by the Fiend Bray Wyatt for an 84, and they get on the mic, and Big E's very happy to have his brothers back with him. He says the Fiend wants to divide them, wants to split them apart, but in the end, the New Day, with the power of positivity on their side, stand strong. And the power of his brothers, the love of his brothers, and the power of positivity is going to help Big E overcome the darkness. He's going to help him overcome the Fiend at Halloween Havoc and retain his Universal Championship for an 89. But right now it doesn't look like the New Day have to worry about the Fiend. They're instead interrupted by the Bloodline. Jacob Fatu flocked by Jimmy and Jade Usos for a 62. And then they get on the mic and they say, Jacob Fatu says that, whilst Big E was getting his gyrating ass wrecked by the Fiend, Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline were getting business done. Whilst Big E was laying down on the mat unconscious, Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline were taking out the Great One. Because you see, Jacob Fatu says he's going to deal with Dwayne at Halloween Havoc. And then you know what him and the Bloodline are going to do? They're going to take out the New Day. They're going to take out Big E. And they're going to take that Universal Championship to bring it back where it belongs, in the Bloodline with the Tribal Chief. Because the Tribal Chief been watching. He been waiting. And he gon' be coming back soon. Until he does, it's time for Fatu and the Usos to deal with business. Because they the ones, not the New Day. And Big E kind of laughed it off, saying that Jimmy, Jay, the Usos and the New Day, they've had this long, historic feud forever, it seems. And they know, New Day know they can hang with the Usos, they can deal with the Usos, with the Bloodline. And if Jacob Fatu wants to go, Big E says he'll happily put him down too. And the 6 men agree to a match later tonight, main event, New Day versus Bloodline 3v3. Hopefully that'll be good. 70 for this segment here. Done alright, got the show off to a pretty good start. With a huge main event announcement as Big E's focus turning away from the Fiend for the night and Jacob Fatu's away from The Rock. Before we head backstage and we showed the Smackdown Tag Team Champions Spanish Fly, Socrates Torres and Alfonso Bourbon talking to someone. The camera doesn't quite catch who they're talking to, but they're talking to someone for a 64 here. Who could it be? We'll have to wait and find out. But then there's a match. Alfonso Bourbon in action against Leon Ruff. And Alfonso Bourbon picking up a win here with that super kick for a 46. 40 for Ruff, 39 for Bourbon. Both doing okay. Both got to get their popularity and everything up. But that comes in time. Alfonso Bourbon picking up his debut singles victory here, though, for Spanish Fly, heading into that tag title match at Halloween Havoc with Ruff and Rush. We then go backstage and we show Montez Ford talking. He's got his match later tonight with Apollo Crews, and he says that he's been waiting for this. His chance at revenge, his opportunity one-on-one with Apollo Crews, and he's going to take it. He's going to snatch it. He's going to take out Apollo Crews, and then after Halloween Havoc, Thaddeus Bullard, Finn Balor, it doesn't matter. The Intercontinental title is in his sights. The Intercontinental title is what he wants, because Montez Ford says he knows he's ready for that. He's ready for his first singles championship. He's ready to keep climbing that ladder. And that climb continues tonight with Apollo Crews. And he says he can't wait for it for an 84 here. Montez Ford hyped up for his singles match later on with Apollo Crews. Hoping to pick up the victory. Hoping to continue to stake a claim on that Intercontinental Championship of Thaddeus Bullards. Before we have tag team action next up in the women's division, we have the women's Universal Champion Rhea Ripley and the $1 Million Champion Bianca Belair against their respective challengers come Halloween Havoc, Ruby Riott and Shayna Baszler. And in the end, Shayna Baszler locking Rhea Ripley into the Coquina clutch, and Rhea Ripley not tapping out. She's not that kind of champion, but passing out, the ref calling for the bell as Shayna Baszler gets the win over her opponent comes Halloween Havoc Bianca Belair, as well as the Women's Universal Champion Rhea Ripley. Strong, dominant performance from Shayna Baszler for a 75. Good match. Ruby Riott and Shayna Baszler have zero chemistry as partners. I don't intend for them to partner ever again, so that's fine. 74 for Ripley, 64 Belair, 58 Baszler, 48 Riott. Happy enough with that, as Shayna Baszler leads her team to victory, standing tall for an 80 here over SmackDown's two women's champions, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, to end the segment. We then have a promo from Portela Muerte, whose identity was revealed last week following her assault of Charlotte Flair again, and Portela Muerte says that this has been coming. Death has been coming to Charlotte Flair for a long time, and Portela Muerte is the bringer of death. She's been waiting, she's been biding her time, but this moment to strike is now. Halloween Havoc. 1-on-1, Portela Muerte, Charlotte Flair, buried alive match. Portela Muerte says to Charlotte to enjoy this night off, because come tomorrow, come Halloween Havoc, the legacy, the career, and the life of Charlotte Flair goes 6 feet under, courtesy of Muerte. For a 67 here, Portela Muerte, a very, very clear message of violent intent towards Charlotte Flair heading into the pairs match at Halloween Havoc, buried alive. Portela Muerte's debut, Charlotte Flair, maybe disadvantage there. She's got the experience, she's got the ability, but Portela Muerte, a bit of an unknown, a chaotic nuke in the mix for Charlotte Flair. Hopefully the match will be good. I am very excited to see how that plays out. And then go backstage to Apollo Crews getting ready. Thaddeus Bullard and Payman there. And Bullard just says to Crews that you've had your time. You made your return. You took your place under my learning tree again. But now you need to get the job done, Apollo. Because there's no room in the Bullard brand for failures. I trust you to do what needs to be done tonight to shut Montez up for good. For an 88 here, a very clear message from Thaddeus Bullard to Apollo Crews before his match. Next up, it's Apollo Crews versus Montez Ford. And in the end, Montez Ford picks up the win with the frog splash. It's a back and forth match. Both men giving it everything they've got. But Montez Ford does come out on top for an 81 here. 80 for Ford, 70 for Crews. Crews not happy after the match. Bullard getting in the ring and attacking Ford. Him and Crews beating Ford into the mat. Standing tall over Ford. Bullard raising that Intercontinental title over Ford for an 85. When out comes, of course, Finn Balor, ladder in hand, storms into the ring, smashing it into Bullard, taking both men down. Bullard getting out of the ring with Heyman. Balor taking out Crews before climbing the ladder and hitting a coup de grace from the top onto Crews for a 90 here. But Balor ready, Balor hyped up for that Intercontinental ladder match with Thaddeus Bullard come Halloween Havoc. And Bullard ready, I think, for the test of his championship reign. His biggest challenge today, maybe even more so than The Undertaker, because of Balor's, youthfulness. But very good segment here for a 90 to keep that going. Before we head into the main event, that 6-man tag, the New Day versus the Bloodline. It's back and forth. Both teams going for it. Both teams wanting this win. In the end, it comes down to just Big E and Jacob Fire in the ring. The Usos, Xavier Woods, Kingston, all taking each other out. The referee getting a bit knocked. Jacob Fire setting up, went out of nowhere. Dwayne Johnson runs out, hits Fatu with a rock bottom before getting out of there himself. Big E picking up the win for the New Day here over the Bloodline with a big ending. Following that interference from The Rock, an 80 for the match, good main event here. 87 for Big E, 77 Kofi Kingston, 66 for Jey Uso, 65 Woods, 61 for Jimmy and Jacob. Happy with that as the New Day come out on top. Big E raising the Universal title alone in the ring to end the show when the lights go out, and of course they come back on to the Fiend, who grabs Big E and hits her sister Abigail onto the mat before standing tall, raising the Intercontinental title above Big E himself for a 91. A very good go-home episode of Smackdown here, heading into Halloween Havoc. Overall, getting an 85, increased the pop in 3 regions. Very happy with that. Very happy with all the go-home shows, all the shows leading into these pay-per-views these last 4 weeks. As, high hopes. I'll just go over the overall card once more here. At Halloween Havoc, we have Bianca Belair defending the $1 million title against Shayna Baszler. Spanish Fly defend their SmackDown tag titles against Leon Ruff and Leo Rush, the former champs. Thaddeus Billard defends his Intercontinental title against Finn Balor in a ladder match. Charlotte Flair takes on Portena Muerte in her debut in a Buried Alive match. Rhea Ripley defends her Women's Universal title against Ruby Riott. Jacob Fatu takes on the Great One, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in a no disqualification match. And in the Halloween Havoc main event for the Universal title, Big E defending his gold against The Fiend in the toughest challenge of his title reign in a steel cage match. There's no running for The Fiend. Big E gets him all to himself in the middle of that ring. Who will come out on top? We'll have to wait and see. And then on the Raw and NXT side, we have Extreme Rules. We have for the NXT North American Championship, Keith Lee defending against Chad Gable. For the Hardcore title, we have Tommaso Ciampa defending his skulls against Pete Dunne in an Extreme Rules match. We have a triple threat match for the United States Championship. Kyle O'Reilly defending his gold against Matt Riddle and the dominant force that is Samoa Joe. We have a big tag team TLC match, the Hardys in their stipulation playground, so to speak, going for the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Celtic Warriors, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Andrade defends his Cruiserweight Championship against Aleister Black. I have very high hopes. I think that could steal the entire weekend. Those two very, very good individually and together, so we'll have to wait and see. Ember Moon defends her Women's World Championship against Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks going for the gold, and Moon wanting to keep it. She's only had it for 2 months. Will she be able to retain? We will find out. We have for the WWE Championship in a dream match, which could also very easily steal the weekend, considering who's in it. Adam Cole defending his gold against Daniel Bryan. I am hyped for that. I don't know about everyone else. For the NXT Women's Championship in a last women's standing match, Becky Lynch puts her gold on the line against Raquel Gonzalez. It has been a bitter feud. Becky Lynch chose the stipulation. Will she be able to keep her championship? We will find out. In an unsanctioned match, Angel Garza versus Edge. Angel Garza not cleared to compete, but signing the contract anyway. Unsanctioned rules, anything goes. Will Garza be able to get revenge on Edge for putting him on the shelf? Could have ended his career, his life, and costing him the WWE title. Or will Edge shut the young up-and-comer up once and for all? And finally, the main event of the horror show at Extreme Rules, Karrion Kross defends the NXT Championship in the match of his challenger Randy Orton's choosing, Hell in a Cell. It is a stacked card. I have very high hopes for it, and if you're looking forward to that, then please like and subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.